Well, so looking back at your time on the show, what was your favorite thing that you baked?
I think like we talk about the strawberry cutout cake because it was a perfect bake. Like it was an
Mhm.
absolute perfect bake. It was one of the easiest times in the kitchen. It was the most least stressful time in the kitchen, and it was just our most accurate one. And so, we take that one to heart, and a lot of people remember that one. Like that's the one that they continuously talk about. And so, I have to say that it's going to be the strawberry cutout cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the bake that you still either are like, I can't believe I missed that clue, or you wish it had gone differently, or whatever? Which is the one that you're still kind of a little bit shaking your fist to the sky about?
The floating island.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
floating island. Yeah, like we knew in our hearts that this was it when we got up that morning. They're probably going to throw a floating island at us. We discussed it. We talked about everything and went in the kitchen and just complete brain fart. Like just could not. I mean, to look back on it now, like this has really bothered us for over a year.
Salty,
Yeah, like
absolute
we
saltiness.
spend
Okay.
we spend the majority of that bait going, no, this is not it, this is not it, this is not it. What is the slotted spoon? What is the pot? And we know the egg whites are there, but we just cannot place that we could not connect that dot
Mm-mm.
of the whipped egg whites into the milk with the slotted spoon and the type of pan. And like Amber said, as soon as Camille and Laisa walk out, we're like, oh my
That's
God,
it.
like God,
That's
like,
it.
that was tough. That was tough. And I feel like Crime Scene Kitchen threw Dwight Howard in there purposely to throw us off our game.
Yeah.
That I think that was their secret weapon,
Yep.
and he smelled really nice, you
So I feel
guys.
like
He
had he
smelled
never
really
came
nice.
into our kitchen and our brains
We would have had
wouldn't have
it.
been cloudy and we wouldn't have been high off Dwight Howard's cologne, we would have got it.
Uh-huh.
It would have came
Mhm.
to us.
We
It
would
would
have
have came
got it.
to
It
us.
would
Like,
have
no, dummies, it's not that. It's the il faton. Like, it. We talked about this already.
came.
But Chocolate Thunder, he came in and he just
Smelling all good. Just,
so
I mean,
kudos
yeah.
to Fox for throwing a wrench in our plan.
Mm.
One of the things as a viewer who is not a baker and who just loves food, I've been fascinated, but how much did you have to kind of do kind of prep and research, and like were you doing kind of like studying more obscure kinds of bakes and cakes, or do you genuinely just have all this knowledge in your brain because this is a what you do for a living?
Yes and no.
Both. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We did study what was we knew wasn't in our wheelhouse. So we knew like the floating island would probably come back around because it was really popular on Instagram. We knew the clafouti would probably come around, and so we studied the proper baking method for that.
Hmm.
Um, we really we don't they don't show it in the show, but we actually go through a whole like teaching lesson on how to put the fruit in a clafouti without it all like running together like you want individual, and do a design, with that. So and the aspect we did study for it, cakes just come naturally to Amber and I. And it was just like we had to just constantly say, close compartments, close compartments, close compartments. But we also had to really um, think about our strategy for the kitchen to walk in. And our strategy was kind of like have a plan, but don't stick with the plan. Like we adapted with
Adapt.
every
Yeah.
time we walked into that kitchen. And sometimes some investigations we communicated, like we yelled out what we saw. In other investigations, we might not have really said anything until we walked back in that kitchen and it's like, oh, okay, so here's what I saw. This is it. 1, 2, 3, let's write it down. All right, bada bada boom. This is it. And
Yeah.
those were the easier bakes for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that that anglaise, because there's so many dishes you can make with a simple anglaise recipe. And you saw that. That was
You
very
saw
evident
4
whenever you started
different
to
things, and that wasn't even touching the surface of what anglaises can be. But we knew it wasn't right. We did, because it just wasn't making sense.
Yeah. So back to your question, like, did we study? Yes, we did study, but also you see how you could have studied, known what the basic ingredients are in the anglaise, and had way too many recipes in your head. And we've had way too many. And Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part of the experience overall?
Giggling with Amber.
Yeah.
Amber and I giggled and laughed so much and so hard in this kitchen, and meeting everyone in production. And for me, it was also catering. The food for catering really, I love a good, I'm a snack queen. My purse is loaded down with all kinds of stuff all day long. So you give me a smorgasbord, for breakfast and lunch and possibly dinner, I'm there.
Everybody always asks what we think about, we're standing up there for judging. I was like, well, Yaz is thinking about what's for lunch or what's for dinner. I'm just thinking, oh, these shoes hurt. I really want to take my shoes off, but it'd probably be really ghetto for me to take my shoes off on this stand, but I really want to. She's thinking about food and I'm thinking about taking shoes off.
Yeah. That is so terrible.
Amber, did you have a favorite part about the process outside of taking off your shoes when you got away from the sets?
I think my favorite part was just making so many different things that I haven't touched in years, being able to go back in that and be like, oh, I'm that chick. Like, oh yeah, like, we don't just make cakes. Like, I think a lot of times when people think of bakers and pastry chefs, they think that's all we do. And so, I think it was awesome to really showcase the variety that exists within our industry, within the baking world. And, like we said earlier, like it just brings to the forefront things that people don't know about and are now encouraged to actually go and research for themselves and try. I've had so many people hit me up like, oh, I made a club foodie, I don't know if it was right, or tart tatin, it looked easy, I tried it. Like I feel like that's one of the things that we actually did well, and I love that.